Okay, it seems I'm live. Yes, I know I was a bit late doing some setup, and since we are going live after a long time, so I wanted to make sure that everything is up and running before we go live. And just say hi if you can see me there, and if everything is going good, just say hi in the chat. Okay, great. So I think I'm visible, and also let me know if the audio is good. So basically, this is a live session where we are doing. In fact, if you remember, okay, my voice is not that clear. Just a second, everyone. Okay, how about now? I just changed my Wi-Fi and thing just stopped working. That's weird. Okay, how about my voice now? Is it good? Cool. So basically, if you remember, we have started with the Java community classes where we talked about different things. We started basically from basics. We started talking about what is Java. We talked about how to create object, what is variable and stuff. And then we have talked about classes, object, inheritance, abstract class, and interface. And now in this session, the Ethernet cable is not connected. Okay, and in this session, basically we are going to talk about the next thing, which is exceptions, right? So this will be an interesting session, and we are going to talk about exception handling, and let's see how do we do that. Okay, so before we start, we are going to start in next 1 minute. I just want to make sure that everyone is there and hit that like button so that YouTube will know that this video is important, so that YouTube will promote this video. So normally, I think YouTube is not promoting the videos nowadays, right? They are just focusing on the videos which are more entertaining. Of course, we have to promote tutorials as well, the learning videos. So please do that. So let's share this video with your friends and also hit that like button. The light is blinking for the Ethernet. Ethernet light. Okay, cool. I think everything should be good as of now, and let's get started. So what's the agenda for today? So we are going to basically make, we have to understand how exception handling in Java works and how do we handle exception, what are errors. Even if you know this topic, it's good to revise the concept, right? And that's what we're going to do. So make sure that you hit that like button before we get started. And let me know in the chat if you're excited for the next concept, which is exception handling. I know this is Saturday, you might be enjoying in the restaurant or somewhere. And also let me know in the chat from which city you are watching this, and also what place. Are you at home or traveling somewhere, in the restaurant, or with your loved ones? Because this is Saturday. Okay, cool. So here we go. Let me share my screen, and where is OBS? OBS is here. Let me move OBS on the other side, and let me... Okay, great. So basically, what is the agenda here? So basically, we're going to talk about exception handling, right? So for that, what we're going to do is we will be creating a thing. Just a second, my video is not working on this side. Oh, I'm here now. Okay, so basically we are going to understand exception. Okay, don't worry about this code. I was doing some video for MongoDB. How do we connect Java with MongoDB? And this video will be out soon, mostly by tomorrow. Tomorrow is we are going to do. Okay, so by tomorrow you will see this video, the MongoDB Java with MongoDB project, and let me know how you feel about it. And okay, cool. So let's talk about exceptions. And for that, let me just go back to my normal scene. Okay, so how many of you know about exception, and have you heard about exceptions? I just want to understand that first. Okay, so basically, North Star is from USA. Sai is from Telangana. Okay, Shiva is watching it from Bangalore. From People from Dubai, Pune, Atlanta. Oh, that's great. People are joining this from all over the world. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So basically, how many of you know about exceptions? So we have to start in that fashion. In fact, let's talk about it. What I will do now is let me share my screen. And it is picking the wrong camera. Okay, great. So basically, we are, the entire setup was moved for the video creation, and now we are just facing the setup issue here. It's crazy. Okay, great. So basically, we are going to talk about exceptions here. Okay. Now think about this thing. See, every time you write a code, and we have talked about this for a long time. I always talk about debugging, right? So, how many of you know about this code which I use for debugging? Anyone? So basically, what do you mean by debugging? So normally what debugging means, debugging is removing bugs, right? So basically in debugging, we remove the bugs, maybe by adding extra lines of code, maybe by removing the lines of code, or maybe by tweaking some code here and there, right? So if debugging is removing bugs, then what is coding? Of course, I have used this multiple times. I just want to reiterate the same jokes multiple times. So if debugging is removing bugs, then what is coding? So coding is basically adding bugs, right? So every time you write a new line of code, you are adding bugs, right? Now, apart from this, so if debugging is removing bugs, then coding is adding bugs. Okay. Now, apart from this concept of bugs, we have one more thing. See, every line which you write in your software, now, it can be a simple line, it can be a complex one, but every line can be a bug, right? I mean, of course, you can make it as a feature, right? So you can make it as a feature, or you can make it as a bug. That both works, but that's the thing. It can be every line can be a bug. So make sure that whenever you create a software, you write less number of lines. So the less lines you write, you will get more stability in your code. I know that sounds weird because to make a software, you have to write a lot of lines of code, right? In fact, I remember I was working on one of the projects at my start of my career. So normally in the college days, we only write 10 lines of code, 15 lines of code, or 20 lines of code, right? But when I started working as a Java developer, my first project, it was having around 8,000 lines of code. Okay. And I know that's weird because when you see that code, it's very difficult to debug also. You don't know what is happening, where the error is coming from, right? So make sure that you write less lines of code. And that's why, nowadays, if you want to write a project, we don't do it from scratch. Basically, we use some libraries or we use some framework. Example, if you work with Spring framework, you write less lines of code. Now, since you are not writing that code, that means Spring framework is giving you some lines of code, right? Which is well tested. And testing is also an important aspect in the project building. Okay. So basically you have to remove bugs. Now, is bug an error? Can you define bug as an error? And we have to understand that first before talking about exceptions. Now, to do that, what I will do is I will talk about errors first. So what do you mean by error? See, error simply means that you have done something which is not expected. That's it. Okay. It can be an error where you get the error at compile time, you get the error at runtime, you get the error at, you don't even get the error. What you get is wrong answer. Okay. You were expecting something and you got something. That is also an error. So we can divide this error into three categories basically. Okay. The three categories can be, let's say the first one is the compile time errors, which you get. So we can say this is compile time. The next type of errors, we can say this is runtime errors. And the second one is runtime. The third one is logical errors. Okay. So we can categorize our errors into three sections: the compile time error, runtime error, and logical error. Now, how do we define a compile time error? Okay. Example, let's say if you make any syntactical mistake in your code. Example, let's say you have written something like this. You have written system.out.print and you have completed everything. This is a normal statement, right? Of course, there is something missing here. The T is missing. Of course, a lot of things are missing here. But imagine the T is missing here. Now, if the T is missing, it will give you an error. Now, that error will be a compile time error because whatever you have written is a syntactical problem. So even compiler will give you some bad words. You know, your Java compiler literally talks to you. Okay, so you will get errors and stuff. So every time it talks to you, sometime it gives you right output and sometime it gives you bad words. So every time you see a red line in your code, basically in the output, basically your compiler says, hey, you can put your bad words there, you have made a mistake, okay, please solve that. And nowadays your compilers are so smart. In fact, there are some IDEs which are so smart which also gives you suggestion, okay, this might be a mistake there, please solve it. Okay, so compile time error normally deals with syntax. So whatever syntactical mistake you have done, so whatever syntactical mistakes you have done, that comes under compile time. The runtime errors, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about logical errors. Now, in logical errors, basically, you get the output. Everything is working. There's no issue with the working. I mean, you are compiling your code. You are running your code. We should talk about runtime first, right? So think about runtime errors first. Let's say you have written the code which is perfectly working. Okay, it was working today as well. It is working tomorrow. I mean, it will work tomorrow. It was working from last 1 year. Let's say today itself, it is not working tomorrow. I don't know why I've said that. Let's say it is working from last 10 years. It was working today as well. Tomorrow it's not working. I don't know why it's not working. Maybe we can guess some problems here. The first issue can be maybe your software was searching for a file in C drive. Okay, let's say it needs some file, maybe for maintaining log files or maybe a database connection. And your file was there for this 10 years. And today evening you thought, hey, I want to delete that file. It's consuming a lot of space. And now you don't have that file in your C drive. Tomorrow when you open the software, the file is not there. It's missing. Okay. Now at this point, everything is working. Everything is working. The only problem is you don't have a file. Now that will lead to a runtime error. So runtime basically means everything is, compiling is done, syntactically you are right, but during runtime something went wrong. Now this error can also arise when you ask for the input from the user, and we have to always treat our users as dumb people, okay, stupid people, because they might be smart in their own world, but they are using your software. So they don't know how your software works. So if they make a mistake, it is your job to handle it. Okay, what if you are asking for a number and they are entering a string? So basically all this thing will lead to a runtime error. Let me give you one more example. What if you're working with an array and in that array, the size of the array is only 5. So let's say you got an array here. Okay, what is this type of array? So let's say you have an array here and array has only 5 boxes. And you have entered the values 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 0, 5. You have inserted this value and now you are trying to insert one more value, let's say 6. Now in this case, it will not work first of all. But what if you have array of only 5 and you're trying to fetch the 7th element? We don't have a 7th element. This is the 0th element, 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have values till 4th element. Now you're starting fetching from 7th element. Now this is also an issue, right? So this will give you an error. Okay, so maybe you can put that into any other format. Runtime error normally caused by users or user mistake. The logical error is something different. In logical, what you do is compiling is done. There's no issue with the compile. There's no issue with the runtime. Okay, everything is working. But let's say you wanted to add 2 numbers. You said, hey, 2 plus 2. The output we were expecting is 4, but let's say you got 5. Let's say you got 5. Now, in this case, that is a logical error. Or maybe you are trying to access your Facebook account and you logged in, but after login, you got your friend's profile. I mean, that will not happen on Facebook, I hope. But let's say you are able to access someone else's messages. Now that's a logical error. Everything is working. There's no compile error. There's no runtime error, but you got a logical error. Now, out of these 3, you tell me which is easy to solve and which is difficult to solve. I'll wait for some time. Think about this and tell me which of this is easy to solve, which of this is difficult to solve. Okay, so you are saying the compile time issue is easy to solve, and that is correct. You know why it is easy to solve? Because you got a help. You got your compiler. Compiler says, "Hey, you made a mistake." Okay, this is the line. In fact, in Java, especially, you get the line where you got the error. And trust me, in Java, when I work, I just love to get errors. Every time I get error, I learn something new. That's not the case with some of the languages. You can name that language in the chat window, okay, which I'm talking about. So basically, compile time is easy to solve. How about logical error? Is logical error easy to solve? In some sense, yes, is because, see, every software goes through a phase which we call as testing, right? So basically, we have to test our softwares. How do we test our softwares? So in every company, you have developers and you have testers. Now, what is the job of developer? Developer's job is to make applications. Tester's job is to test the application, and they do their job amazingly. They know how to find mistakes. I think it's more of a human tendency. As a human, we have this tendency that we don't understand our own mistakes, but we can easily find someone else's mistakes, right? That's what testers do. So testers' job is to search for the errors, right? And they use different tools for this. There can be manual testing. They do a dry run. They do a manual testing. They do automation testing, and they find bugs for you. Okay. So I can say finding the uh, logical error is also easy because you're doing testing. What is the issue is the runtime exception, because you don't get that at compile time. You don't get that. I mean, sometimes you also miss this at runtime. Oh, sorry, in the testing as well. And that's where it is our job as a programmer to handle this. Okay. So it is our job as a programmer to handle the runtime exception. Oh, sorry, runtime errors. Now, these runtime errors are actually called exceptions in Java. So we have to handle the exception. Okay, and finally, I got someone in the chat. I just want to talk about it. I know we are breaking in between, but we'll talk about that thing for sure. So we got in the sorry. Okay, so basically we got Shaban in the chat. Okay, now let me tell you a story. I can say one of the reason why I was able to upload. So first of all, I want to shout out Shaban. Hey, hi Shaban. Um, I want to give you a big shout out to you. And I talk about you a lot during my days. And every time someone asks me, how you are so consistent with YouTube and what's up mantra of being successful on YouTube, I always say, you need to be consistent on YouTube to be successful. But the question is how to be consistent, because a lot of people, they start the YouTube channel and then they stop in between. It's because when you start a YouTube channel, when you upload a video, you don't get views at the start, and even I faced that issue. So when I started uploading videos, I was not able to uh, I was not able to upload videos because I was not getting views, and that's a big demotivation for anyone if your work is not appreciated or not getting recognition. So I was not uploading that much of videos at my start of my career. I'm talking about 2013 and 14, Shaban, if I'm not wrong. So 2013 and 14, and I only had a few videos on the channel. And one day I got a comment. I still remember the topic itself. And the comment was from Shaban, and the topic what he was requesting was marker interface. Okay, and he was like, okay, hey Naveen, can you make a video on marker interface? I was like, what is marker interface? I don't know what marker interface is, and to be very honest, I was not knowing at that point. And I just said, hey, don't worry, Shaban, I will make a video. It took me some time to make a video, but then that point I realized, yes, there are people who are watching the videos. Yes, there are people, even if I can help one person, I'm doing my job. And that's where I started uploading videos. And of course, after that, I got few comments by saying I got a job because of your video, because this is the same thing I mentioned in the interviews, and I got selected. And that's a motivation. So I always, at least if I don't mention his name everywhere, in my brain, I always try to remember, okay, it was Shaban who motivated me enough. So thank you so much, Shaban, once again. Just wanted to give you the shout out. And it's great that you're still watching the videos. Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, so basically what we have here is we are talking about the exceptions now, right? So what is exception? So basically what happens, every time you write one line of code, now this line of code can give you the errors, okay? I mean, every line can give you an error. So every statement we can categorize into two sections. One, an error can be the statement which you write, the line which you write can be a normal statement or it can be a critical statement. Okay, so every line in your code can be a normal statement or it can be a critical statement. So I have a question for you. If I write a line like this, if I say int a is equal to 5, so you tell me, is it a normal statement or a critical statement? So before you do that, I just want to explain a concept. Let's say if I'm traveling somewhere with a kid, okay, I have a small kid with me, and we are going to a restaurant. Of course, the restaurant is closed restaurant. The door is not opened, so of course a kid cannot go out. And at that point, if let's say if that kid lifts my hand and runs, as kids have this habit of running everywhere. So if the kid runs in the restaurant, is it a normal situation or a critical situation? Okay, that sounds like a normal situation, right? Because it's a restaurant, a kid will take a round of a different table. My kid always do that. So, she runs in the restaurant and then take a big round of some tables and come back and sit there. That's a normal statement, normal situation. But what if I'm walking on the street, maybe on a road, and she leaves my hand? What will happen? Is it a normal situation or critical situation? So of course I have to make sure that I don't leave her hand. Okay, I have to get a strong grip, and even if she leaves my hand, I have to jump to catch her, because that's a critical statement. So in the same way, every time you write one line of code, you have to make sure that you have to check, is it a normal statement or a critical statement? Do you have to handle it? So if you talk about this statement, yes, this is a normal statement. Why this is normal? Because this will not give you any error. We are just creating a simple variable int a equal to 5, so why it will give you error? But how about this? What if you're trying to fetch, or maybe you have written a statement like this, db equal to get connection. So let's say you're trying to connect with database. So you're making a connection with database now. You tell me, is this a normal statement or critical statement? Trying to connect with the database. What about discount? Not working. Coupon not working. Okay. Ask him to wait for 20 minutes. Okay, so we got db get dot connection, right? Or maybe get connection. Why we have a dot in between? Yeah, this is basically a critical statement. You know why this is critical? It's because maybe this is working today and tomorrow the database has changed. There is no database, or maybe the database has migrated from one server to another server. There's a change in URL, there's a change in password. Now this can go wrong. Okay, so we have to handle this type of lines. Now, how do we do that? So let's do that in the code itself. So what I will do is I will share my screen. Okay, don't look at this particular code here. I've done that for my as I mentioned, the MongoDB video. So I will just create a new project, and this will be named as exception demo. Oh, there's a spelling mistake there. So exception demo. Okay, yes, new window. Oh, where that window went? Is it still opening the project? Looks like. Yeah, sometimes it takes time for IntelliJ to... why it's not opening? Okay, it has opened actually on a different screen. That's weird. And that's the issue of having multiple screens. You don't know what is happening on what screen. Okay, so we got a project here, right? So what I will do is I will just open this Java and create a new class, and I will name this as demo. And in this demo, basically, of course, I know the font is not visible. I will just say preferences. Use the font size, which should be 24. Oh, something has happened, but not at the right place. Editor appearance. Hey, where the font size went? It's 20. Make it 24. I think this should be visible. Is the font visible? Okay. So what I will do now is I will create a main method here. So I will say main enter. I got a main method. Now let's say if I write some statement here, one of the best example of to explain the exception handling is dividing a number. So let's say if I take a variable here which is int I is equal to, let's say, 9 and int j is equal to 8, or maybe let's say 3. Now do you think that this I and j, both the statement line number 6 and line number 7, is it a normal statement? Yes, because we're just assigning a value. What may go wrong there? Anyway, we are providing hard-coded values, so I don't think there should be an issue. But what if I just try to do this? If I say int k is equal to I plus j. Now, do you think this might be an issue? It's not visible properly. It's blurry. Is it blurry? Okay. So if I make this font size 28, the font may come out of the screen. Okay, and Mr. Pawar is back. Yeah, Mr. Pawar. Okay, great. So basically, we got. So if you're facing network issue, it might show you blurry. So make sure that you have. No, control score is not working for Mac. I don't know what's the issue. Okay, anyway. So if I do this, there will not be an issue, right? Yeah, there can be one issue where the range is going out of. For example, if I say the I value is last and if you say +1, it will give you an issue. It will give you logical error, not the runtime error, I guess. But what if, okay, let me just also print this so that we can see the output. And if I run this code, not debug, what's wrong? No. Okay, anyway. So if I right click and if I run, say, run demo, and you can see we will get our output, which is 12. So this is working. Now, what can be a critical statement? If I say division here, now this can be a critical statement. You will say, why critical statement? If I say run, you can see we will get 3. So this is working. Now, this will not work when you have something like this. What if the division is 0? Now, when you divide by 0, and if you try to run this code, you can see we got an exception. The exception is arithmetic exception. So basically, you got the error. It says, hey, you cannot divide a number by 0. That's bad, right? It is our issue now. So how do we solve this? So to solve this, in fact, you will be saying, hey, what's wrong with that? You have divided by 0, right? There's one little problem here. The problem is, every time you get the exception, it will stop the execution. So every time you get the exception, it will stop the execution. That means if I run this code again, it will not print by. Let me show you. So if I run this code, we got the same exception. It is not printing by, is because the execution just got stopped at this point. Okay, that's one issue. So we have to make sure that your software don't stop when you have an exception. Now think about this. What is wrong? Even if you get the exception, if your software is stopping, what's the issue? You can restart, right? How many of you think if you get an error, you can just simply restart the application? It's fine. No one thinks that? No? Okay, now think about this. See, if you are using a software like calculator, okay, a very simple software in your mobile phone, and while doing some calculation, there was some issue and your software just stopped in between. And then the app crashed, you again opened it and it is working now. No issue, right? It's you can just reboot it. But how about you are using a software? Example, let's say you are in the plane and the entire plane is running on a software and you got a bug. Risky. What if you are using some some medical device, and medical device also works on software nowadays? What if that stopped working? So it's okay not to handle the exception in a normal software, but whenever you have a critical softwares like critical softwares where life of a person is at risk, money is at risk, then we have to handle the exception. Okay. So in this case, also we have to make sure that if you get the error, you have to handle it. Now, how do we handle the exception? So to handle the exception, we can use a very simple keyword which is available in Java, which is called try. So we can say, hey, system, I know this statement here might give you an exception. So please try to execute this. Okay. Try to execute. If it is not working, then that's fine. I will just print something, but don't stop the execution. If you feel there's something wrong with this, tell me that there's a problem, but don't stop the execution. Okay. So you have to put everything, whatever is a critical statement, in a try block. Okay. One more thing I want to do, I would just want to declare the k variable outside so that we can use it everywhere. I don't want to declare it here. Okay, so you can see I'm just putting that statement into try block. Now what try block will do is try will say, okay, I will try to execute, but what if when I try to execute this and there is an exception? Think about this. So if there is an exception with this, so what try will do is try will say, okay, if I get the exception, I will throw the exception to you. Now you will say, okay, if you throw something, I can catch it. So you will say catch the exception. Okay, so we can say catch the exception E. So we have to give a name to it. So basically it will throw the exception. You are catching it here in this E object. And then with this, you can print something went wrong. Okay. As simple as that. So you are doing something, some mistake here, and if that is not working, it will print something went wrong. Initially, what I will do is I will not divide this by number by 0. I will divide it by 3, and let's see what is the output. So if you run this, everything is normal. You can see there is no exception here. So if you don't have an exception, it will not execute the catch block. So catch block will be executed only when you got the exception. Okay. And that's why it's not printing something went wrong. But what if something will be going wrong. Now we are trying to divide this number by 0. And now if you run this code, you can see it says something went wrong and also by. So basically there was an exception. That's why you are printing this. But with that, it is also printing by. Okay. Now I can see some people here are new to Java. So make sure that you have seen my Java course. So there is a big playlist on the channel, which so Java in 7 hours. You can watch that and you can learn from the basics. Also, if you are someone who love to learn something by attending the live session, maybe you already know this. We have 2 batch live session going on. You can watch that. In fact, the link is there in the chat as well, I think. Yeah. So you can check out the link in the chat, which is the Job Guaranteed Java Developer course. And there's not just a Java course, this is a full stack course. Front end, back end, database, everything is there. So do check out the course content once. But if you know Java, if you're just here to enjoy the concepts, don't worry, you're there, please. Okay. And also an announcement tomorrow, the video of Spring Boot and MongoDB project. Okay. So I'll be building a project. in 41 minutes. 41 minutes, that's a video, yeah. So in the 41 minutes, there's a video, will be uploaded by tomorrow afternoon. Do watch that. Okay, cool. So now you can see something went wrong. So we are handling the exception, and the good thing is the software is not getting crashed in between. It's properly printing by as well. So we had done one thing. But then printing something went wrong to the user will not understand, right? So you have to say, hey, idiot, don't divide by 0. As I mentioned, all the users are stupid people. In fact, if I'm a user of some software, I'm idiot. I'm stupid because I don't understand that software. Yeah. Okay, so now if I run this code, so it says, hey, idiot, don't divide number by 0. That makes sense, right? So we are printing a good message now for the user. So user will say, okay, I understood my mistake. I will make it 3. I mean, let's imagine this data is coming from the user. So in that case, of course, you have to mention that. And you can see we got by. Now let's say we have one more thing. What if you have an array here? So I'm saying I'm creating an array here of nums. And let's say this array will be of size new, what's wrong with me? New int. And if you say that the array size is 4, and then we have assigned some values. Let's say I'm assigning some static values here. So the values are 5, 3, 7, and 8. Now, once I got these values, of course, I can print it. But what if here, after doing this, I'm trying to print the value which is nums of 1. So you tell me, am I right to put this statement into try block, or can I write that statement outside? Okay, Ayush is saying pretty harsh message. User will leave and never input. We are just doing this for fun, right? And also, Harsh is sitting in front of me. Do you feel bad, Harsh, for these harsh words? Okay. The user is sensitive, that's right. Okay, so basically when you try to do this, we don't have any issue, but then this can be a critical statement, right? Now, why this will be a critical statement, I will show you in some time. So let me just run this code. And you can see we are printing 3, 3. Oh, that's a coincidence. I've never thought it will be same. Let's say if I say 3, now why I'm obsessed with 3 today? If I say 2, you can see it will print 7. So this is working, right? Okay. So now what I will do is, I will just change this number from 2 to 5. Now tell me what will happen. Will it work or it will give you error? Okay, I'm looking at your messages, everyone. So let's try. If I run this code, you can see it says, hey user, oh sorry, I don't know why I'm reading idiot as users. Okay, hey idiot, don't divide by 0. But we are not dividing by 0, right? Are we? No, we're dividing by 3. Then why it is printing divide by 0? So to understand that, what I will do is, instead of just printing the messages, I will also print the exception itself. I'm printing E as well. And now if you run this code, it will at least print the actual problem. So this is the message which you have printed. But the exception this time is different. It is array index out of bounds exception. It says index 5 out of bound. Oh, I should be printing a different message. Yeah, that's right. In Java, we don't have garbage values. Okay, so I should be changing this message now. Instead of saying, hey, idiot, divide by 0, I can say, stay in your limits. I mean, the values are 4 only, right? So why we have why we are fetching from the outside range? If I run this code, now it says stay in your limit. Now this makes sense. Yeah. So printing a specific message works. But the only problem is, now if I divide by 0 and if I fetch the normal value, let's say 1, in this case, it will still print stay in your limit. But the actual problem is we are dividing it by 0. So don't you think we should handle different exceptions in a different way? Right? So in this case, what I can do is, in one try, basically we can mention multiple catch block. A different catch block will handle the exception in a different way. So I can just come back here and I can say catch. And if I say, okay, now we have to be very specific here. What type of exception you got? Remember, we got two different exceptions when I was printing the message. One was for 0 divided by, 0 divided by 0, the exception name was arithmetic exception. And the moment we crossed our limits, we were going out of the array, it is printing array index out of bound. So different exceptions are there. So can we be very, very specific here? Can I say arithmetic exception E, and in this I will print a different message. I will print hey user. Now since users are sensitive, I can say hey user, you cannot divide by 0. Okay, and this time instead of saying exception, I can say array index out of bounds exception. Cool. And now if you run this code, you will get specific error, what error you have. Now depend upon which error you got, it will call that particular catch block. Make sense? Thank you, Aman, for answering the questions in the chat. Good job. Okay, so now tell me, which line has the error here? Line number 12 or line number 13? So it's line number 12, right? So line number 12 has the error. 13, we don't have an error. And that's why it is printing cannot divide by 0. But what if both the statement has errors? Now tell me which catch block will be called. Okay, I'm waiting for your answers in the chat. Okay, anyone has the playlist link? Harsh, can you share the Java playlist link in the chat? Is there in the description? Okay, check the description. There should be a Java video link. No, not that. Okay, all the YouTube videos. Okay, so everything is there in the chat. So in the description. Okay, so most of you are saying it will throw the second error. Some of you are saying first error. Let's see. If I run this code, it will only throw one error. You know why? Because the moment you get the exception here, it will not execute the further statement. Yes, in the dry run, we can see there are two exceptions. But when your code runs, the moment you get the first exception, it will directly jump in the catch block. Okay? And that's why it is not even checking for the second one. So it doesn't matter how many things you have here. If you get the first exception, it will directly jump out of the block. Making sense? Okay, so the idea is one try block can have multiple catch blocks. Now, what is happening behind the scene? Now, if you see this arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exception, if you click on it, it actually extends. You can see we have this class extending runtime exception. If you talk about runtime exception, it is extending exception. Can I say that the arithmetic exception is a child of exception? I mean, of course, grandchild, but can you say it's a child of exception? Yeah, we can say that, right? So even this is a child of exception, even this is a child of exception. Okay, that makes sense. But also there's one thing which we are missing. What if this try block has multiple lines of code, not just two, multiple lines of code. And somewhere in the code, we are not even sure that which exception will be which exception will be thrown. Because sometimes you know, sometimes you don't. At that point, what you will do? If you don't know the exception, how will you solve it? That's tricky, right? So in this case, what you can do is, at the end, we can add one more catch block, which is exception, which can handle all of the exceptions. This is like a general exception. And I don't know if you're from India, we have this amazing TV show called CID. And in CID, we have this amazing joke. कुछ तो good bird hai. Okay. And if in YouTube chat, if there's an option of having a meme, if someone can share a meme of Daya kuch to gadbad hai, so that others will get the idea. Okay. Right. So kuch to gadbad hai. So basically, this in English simply means something went wrong. So instead of that, let me print something went wrong. Maybe some people are watching this who don't understand Hindi, so something went wrong. So it's always good to have this at the end, the catch block. Okay. But what if you want to put this catch block at the top? Now it will create an issue. The issue is if exception can handle all the exception, then what these two are doing here, they have no use, right? Because even if you get this exception, it will check, hey, the first exception is matching. It will not even check for next two exceptions. So it's always you have to put that at the end, this exception part. Make sense? Cool. Yeah, this is how you handle the exception. There are a lot of things for the exception. I would suggest you to watch the video. Again, one of the reasons why we do this online session is to motivate you to learn again. Because sometimes you think I will learn, but then, because of some other issues, and tell me if it has happened with you, you started learning something and in between you left it. It's because there's no one forcing you to learn, and maybe you're not getting enough time. Or maybe you just totally forgot that you were supposed to learn something. So this type of sessions actually motivates you to learn. Right. So this is how you handle the exception. Cool. Now with this, we have talked about the basics of exception. I would ask you to learn more about it. And now it's time for me to ask to see some questions. Oh, the Java course. Oh, I forgot to show you that. Let me show. Now, since we are talking about the course, let me show you something. So basically, from 2nd of October, that's right, after 8 days, we are coming up with a full stack. What's wrong? I should put my face here. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So basically, we are coming up with the full stack Java course, and this is a job guarantee course. Okay. And we have talked about it a long time. If you have any questions, we can talk about this. Okay, so we are talking about the front end, back end, and these are the things you are going to learn. And since this is a job guarantee, we have to make sure that we teach you everything which is there in the industry. Okay, this starting from 2nd of October. It will be daily from Monday to Friday, and trust me, it is a very extensive course for 6 to 7 months. I mean, think about this: learning Java for 6 to 7 months daily will make you master for sure. And yeah, it has multiple lives. It will be a live session. There will be doubt solving session apart from this. There will be certifications, projects, everything is here. Okay, if you want to learn Spring Boot, you can just watch this. This is not $17,000. This is 17,000 rupees. So normally the course fees for this type of courses comes in lakhs. If you check in US market, it's way ahead. Okay, but we are just trying to keep it as affordable as possible. Okay. If you want to use discount, yeah, you can also use my discount coupon. You can see it here, or you can find the link there. And I can assure you, you will not find any course which is this much of depth and this much of hours of content with this fees and plus job guarantee. Oh, can I use the dialog? In Indian market, if you go to a shop and if you don't, and if you say, hey, that's costly, they will say, go out in the market and find a cheaper option of this. If you get, I will give you this for free. We should do that, right? If you can find a better price for this type of courses of this much of content with job guarantee, I will give you this course for free. Okay, yeah. Timings is this 7 p.m. IST, 7:30 IST to 10:30 IST. Okay, and what's the harm, right? This is job guarantee. If you don't get the job, we'll give you money back. Of course, you have to work on the assignments. You have to work on a project. It's not like you're just it's not like you're paying the fees and you're getting the job. That's not how it works. You have to learn. You have to work hard. And I always believe, if you can work hard for 6 months, you will have your next 20 years secured. Of course, you have to struggle in future as well after doing this course, after getting a job. But that struggle will be worthful. It's worth to struggle after getting a good job than struggling with a bad job. Think about it. So yeah, that's about today's session. I will do more live session. Yeah, we have already spent 1 hour, almost 1 hour. So we'll do some more sessions there. We'll be doing sessions on threads as well next week. And again, for everyone who are in Bangalore, basically, I'm shifting to Bangalore. So we are moving everything from Mumbai to Bangalore, and you can we can have some meetups in Bangalore soon. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this session. Let me know in the chat and hit that like button, everyone, because that's what motivates me to come live and talk about different concepts and talk to you people. So please hit the like button and do share the channel with your friends. And yeah, and tomorrow the video is coming up on Java with MongoDB. Please watch that, because trust me, it's one of the how much it's for continuous 3 days. I was leaving my office at 2 a.m. if I'm not wrong. Working on the project with my team, Nitin and Ninad, who helped me in this. Yeah, and it's all set now. So you will find the video tomorrow. So that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this. In fact, I can wait for a few more minutes if you have any questions, because I'm coming live after a long time. Yeah, 2 a.m. because I realize most of the work happens after 10 p.m. because during the daytime there are a lot of disturbance and stuff. In the night time, it's good, no disturbance. Yeah, if you have any questions. Sanjay says, just wanted to know what will be the average salary one can expect with this job guarantee program. I can assure you the minimum what is paid in these service-based companies, whatever TCS gives you or Infosys gives you, more than that. Okay. See, it's not dependent upon the salary is never dependent upon the course. Trust me, it's never dependent upon the course. It's about the skill set. If you don't have a skill set, how can we assure you good package? So you have to work hard. We are the path for you. Okay. So we are going to make sure that you learn each and everything. If you follow for the 6 months, you will have enough knowledge, and trust me, more than me, because most of the concept will be, you will get your trainers. There are 3 trainers. So basically you are learning of combination of 3 people's knowledge. So there are some concepts which I don't know. They will take care of it. So there are some concepts which they don't know. I will take care of it. So they will know more than, so you will know after the course more than what we know. Okay. EMI options, yeah, EMI options available. Sunny is saying, I have already enrolled this course. Can I ask questions in Hindi? Yes, you can in the doubt solving session. During the session, maybe a lot of people not be understanding the same language. So maybe doubt solving session, you can ask that. Okay, we can't remember all the concepts in the interviews. That's why you have to prepare. You have to prepare for the interviews. You have to do mock interviews. In fact, in the course, we also have mock interviews. So we'll ask you a lot of questions and you have to answer. Okay. Yes, there's a EMI option available. Okay, Aman says we'll be waiting for the next live session. Yeah, we'll do that soon. Okay. Have you tied up with the companies? Yes, there are multiple companies we have tied up with. And that's why we are confident enough to launch this course. And that's the reason I'm not launching job guarantee for blockchain, because we are still on the verge of connecting with different companies. Oh, we have done with 350 likes. Okay. Hit that like button before you leave, everyone. Recording will be available, yes. So after every live session, the recording will be available with a lifetime access. So you can watch these sessions anytime when you want. How can I enroll? Oh, for enrolling, you can use a link in the chat. If you can see, there's a link there available. And you can also get 10% off if you use that coupon code. Yeah, coupon code is Naveen10. You can enroll for the course and you can watch the videos as well. That perfectly works. But we don't have a separate module for recorded and live sessions. Yeah, so you can, Udesh, so yeah, we'll see you in the course, Udesh. Just make sure that you use the link on the top. And people who are looking for affordable one without job guarantee, there is a course. You will also find that in description. There's an enterprise Java course. Core Java is almost done. If you just want to learn the advanced part, if you know Core Java, you can enroll for that course. The fees is very less there. It's only 3,600 rupees, which comes out to be $59 or $50. Okay, so yeah. So that's it from this live. I hope you enjoyed. Hit that like button. See you in the next live. Bye-bye.